And what's going on? Fontaine here, VIPSoundlab.com, back on the Maschine 2.4.6 update, an update that you guys are well aware of. So I got a few questions on it. I'm going to go ahead and address those questions for some of the VIP members. The first thing I'm going to go over is when it comes to your sampling, you have the new, I guess what I call the lazy chop, what Akai started on the MPC. But what you can do is you can actually add your slice points in real time. In the slicer, the manual mode is now the default. You notice how the slice button gets renamed to split when you're letting go of the button, or I should say when it plays the sample in its entirety. Like while it's playing the sample, what happens is it'll say slice, and when it stops, it'll say split, because it gives you that option in case you want to add split points in between your samples. And then it turns back, the slice whenever the sample plays again. The eraser tool, you can now delete dividers between slices, but there's an easy way you can do that if you want to they added a delete all button if you want to erase certain sample points, start from scratch, which makes life easy. If you want to get in there and if you mess up, you don't feel like doing the editing again, you can do it that way. But either way, it doesn't make a difference. I'm the type of producer, I get in there and I just edit my samples after I do slice them. But it is a nice feature to get in there and add those slice points in really quick. Awesome feature. So we'll go over that, and then we'll explore some more areas of the 2.4.6. And I'm not really sure if I'm going to do it all in one video. I might just break these videos up into a couple of videos, and we'll go from there. We'll see how it goes. So let's go ahead and get into it. Under the voice settings, under the engine, you have your polyphony here, which is set to 8 by default. I'm going to change this to 1. Why? Because I want the pads to basically choke each other off, kind of like chill groups. All right, from that point, what you're going to do is you're going to press your sampling button here. You have record, edit, slice, and zone. Zone, this basically is your map where if you want to map out sounds, we have videos on that. Slice, this is basically where if you want to slice your sounds up. Manual mode is now the default, as you can see right there where it says slicer. You have other tools in that, but we'll get into that in a second. Under edit, for people who are new, this is basically where your WAV file is going to show up. So if you're recording something from a record, if you're importing a WAV file, as I've done here, this is when I pre-prepared. This is where you're going to get in there and adjust your endpoints and start points, getting your sample however you want it. Okay, again, this particular situation, this is how I have it set up. I'm going to change the color to make that easier for you guys to see. I just want to say hey to all the VIP members, by the way. Hope you guys are having a wonderful VIP experience. All right, so what you're going to want to do the real-time chopping, or lazy chop, as some people who use the MPC call, whatever you want to call it, is real time, slicing and chopping. Okay, so you're going to want to jump over to your slice screen, and you notice that you have under the right side of your hardware controller, you have edit, apply, and apply to. Okay, now if you look on your hardware controller, you notice how the first pad will be lighting up. So when you tap on the pad, what happens is it's going to apply a slice point. And then from that point, whenever the sample plays, you tap on another pad to add another slice point as it's playing. So it's just to give you an example of that. All right, so I went ahead and made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 slices. When you run your mouse through these slices, when you look down at your pad, you will see that your pads will light up when you hover your mouse over these slice points. Okay, very important. Or just tap it on your pads. Now, if you mess up in here, don't worry about that, because you always can come and adjust your slice points. You have a zoom feature here where you can zoom in and out on your samples. That is the first knob on that right hand screen, and you can use the other knob after that to roll back and forth through the sample, which basically is going to make your editing very easy. So again, we're going to go to the second slice here, for example. Now again, on your top right hand screen, remember the edit button. Okay, when you hit edit, this is a different edit button from this edit button here, completely different. Okay, so when you hit this edit button, okay, now you're entering your editing screen for the sample that you just sliced and chopped up. Okay, so for example, let's say if I wanted to zoom in on this guy right here, and on the other side of the screen I want to adjust the start point on that. We'll zoom that in, maybe make it a little tighter like this here. We can zoom in and out of that. Okay, we made that snare a lot tighter. You know, however you want to do that. Okay, you notice that. Okay, you notice when I tap on the pad, you notice how the split button changes to slice. Okay, it's only going to say slice while the pad is playing or the sound is playing, whatever you want to call it. So you have the option between these, I guess if you want to call it these brackets, start and end point. When it says split, you can tap on the split button and add more slice points within that region. Okay, you see how I added those slice points in there? Now, you can remove these slices. Now, if I hover the mouse here, for example, select remove, I could take that out one by one. Or you can use the delete all button to start over from scratch. So if I hit remove, it's taking those slice points away. Okay, you see that? If I press split, it's adding slice points. Okay, so that depends on how you want to do that. You know, if you move it too much, it takes off your last pad. So in other words, from that pad, you would have to erase each slice from that point to start over. Like from down here, I have to press remove, go to this guy, remove this guy, so on and so on. Remove all those. That's kind of individually, you know, and then just go back. What you would do is you would press the edit button again. You notice how the pad would immediately light up again, and you can add them, you know, basically starting over from scratch. Okay, I'm going to zoom out of that. And again, the slice points are back in there, as you can see here. Now, if you wanted to get rid of all these slice points at the same time, what you would do is, again, you would hit edit. And there's a delete all button now. So you press delete all, boom. All your samples are now, well, I'm not going to say your samples are erased, but your slice points are now erased. So, okay, so let's go back. Let me add these in right quick. All right, and then at this point, that's where the apply button comes into play. You click apply. Okay, and you notice here that it automatically applies all your samples there, which is basically on a 4-bar loop. And if I jump over to the arranger here, there's the MIDI notes. They get spread out over the pads. So when you press play, all right, so you get a nice little playback of what you just sliced and chopped up in real time, which I thought is pretty cool based on the beats per minutes of this session that I have here, which was 120. So, you know, not bad. I mean, I really can't complain. You know, then you just go back under your settings here, under your voice settings and engine, change your polyphony to 1. Okay, and if you wanted to erase this MIDI pattern down here, you can do that. Or if you want to adjust your individual chops, you can. Now, one thing I like is that when you press apply, it automatically jumps to the keyboard mode, which I thought was pretty cool. You know, if you want to select your fixed volume on that, you can go ahead and do that. You know, again, you can come in here and again, if there's any sample in there that you're not happy with, just go back to your sample screen. Tap on that pad, and what you do is you go under sampling, tap on a pad that you're not comfortable with, you press edit, and then you can go in there and edit your sample. Easy as that. And it follows through. So it depends on you if you want to go in there and truncate your sample or whatever you want to do. It's pretty much it. I mean, it's pretty much straightforward. It's pretty much cut and dry. I mean, I can't think of an easy way to explain how that works. But again, if you have any questions or concerns, just hit me up and I will answer you guys in real time. And yeah, man, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I really don't know how else to explain that to make it any easier. You know, I hope I'm not leaving anything out. If I am, please forgive me, because it is a new update. And I actually was over in Japan for a while, and, you know, I got back late and I was like, you know, and I had my laptop home. So I had to, you know, come back first and then jump on it. But yeah, man, I mean, if there's anything that I'm leaving out, you know, you guys just let me know. I mean, you have this eraser tool here. You notice how it puts a little, see a little minus sign. That might be hard to see. I don't know. I call it the minus sign or whatever. So if you want to erase, you know, little sample points in here, you can come in here. You know, you can just grab it, you know, and erase, you know, things like this here, you know, and just take them out, kind of, you know, kind of graze them out, or do it like this. And maybe you might want to custom, you know, however you want to do it. I mean, it's up to you. You know, take those little slice points off. I mean, that's up to you. You know, you have the little slice tool here. If you want to come here and add your little manual edits, you know, if you want to be more detailed and more precise, you know, I'm more on the fly type of guy. You know, again, you have an apply button here. You also have this MIDI drag icon here. If you want to take these samples and, you know, drag them over here to another group, that's another way you can do it. You can edit them up over there like that. But of course, you have to go to sound. You know, like this, you'd have to basically put all these in choke groups. You know, this might be a little more messy to some, but some might feel more comfortable working this way. You know, you have more sounds that are being used up here, whereas over here it's more, you know, saving more space. So, you know, it depends to you. I mean, the option is actually up to you. I mean, this way, like this is one workflow. I do this sometimes myself, you know, depending on the sample, because not all samples, you know, are the same as far as when it comes to length and entirety, or maybe you just want more slice, you know, you just might want more slice points for whatever reason. I mean, you know, I just figured I'd go ahead and show you guys that. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, man. If you guys have any questions or concerns, just hit me up. All right, and let's go ahead and take a look at actually some of the new features when it comes to the scenes. Now, one of the new things that you're really going to notice is that you have the loop playback icon, which is something I felt that Maschine was badly needed. Something they pretty much should have had from day one. But I'm glad that they have that in there now. So scene export, basically what it is, you know, you can split your scenes up and let you, you know, export individual scenes for use as, you know, audio loops. That could be very useful. You can automatically export the entire song range without setting a loop range first. I think that's something that was badly needed as well. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at actually looping up your scenes and your patterns. Now down here we have a pattern. This is basically a 4-bar loop. And up here, the 4-bar loop appears in your scenes. Your scenes is what basically sequences your patterns inside Maschine. You know, you can come in here and basically arrange your patterns however you want to do it. But we have videos on that. You guys are pretty much familiar with that. And you can rearrange these patterns however you want to rearrange them. You know, you get in here and basically do whatever it is that you want to do. You know, on your hardware controller, when you press pattern, you can go in there, you can double your scenes, duplicate your scenes, you know, whatever you want to do. As you can see, I'm doing there. It made it to 4. But, you know, you want to come in there and name your scenes to keep them nice and neat. Like you want to name it like intro, you know, verse, pattern, whatever. Like if you name this, I don't know, verse, you know, you come in there and name that verse, you know, just to make it nice and neat. Again, this is what's going to sequence your patterns. Now, this is completely independent of this. Down here, this is your pattern. Now, if you look up there, that's what's going to determine your pattern length. Okay. This is completely independent. Let me scroll this over a little bit of where your scenes actually loop. These are your bars and your beats up here. Okay. Same as your bars and your beats down here. Okay. So if you got your first bar, second beat, third beat, fourth beat, second bar, it works the same up here with your scenes. Keep that in mind. So let's say if you want to loop exactly 1 bar, that's where the scene looper comes into play. Okay. You have a loop icon here. See that? Off, on. All right. So that means when I press play here, it's going to loop only what's in this highlighted section here. All right, so let's say now I actually can come here and actually can, you know, do it this way too. I can make this an independent loop. Now, if I really wanted to, let's say, well, let me zoom in so I can see exactly what I'm doing. You definitely want to use your bars and beats menu up here to actually see what you're doing. I don't know, for whatever reason, let's say I want to make this scene this long here. Okay, shortening the pattern. Okay, so this is a different kind of a workflow. So, you know, that's up to you. That comes into more, you know, when you're doing live performances and things like that. So let's say I'm going to duplicate this here, and I'm going to duplicate this again here. I'm going to change this one to pattern 3, and I'm going to change this one to pattern the original, like this here. And on pattern 4, I'm going to take off this bass off of there, like this is brass bass, whatever. I'm going to take that off, and then I'm going to loop it like this. What happens is that's going to play completely different from the first pattern here. See what I'm saying? Then let's say down here on this pattern, I don't know, I had like really short, let's say 1 bar like this. Okay, that's going to play a little bit different. See that? See how it's like the scene is independent. The pattern is only this long here. Okay, whereas the scene's playing completely through and looping back the pattern down there. So that is completely independent of that. So that depends on, you know, your workflow, however you want to do it. You know, if you just want to have that scene short like that, which would be kind of off, but I mean, just give me an idea, give me an example. You can loop anywhere in the scenes now, and it's independent of the patterns. So if I exit pattern, you have a scene button on your hardware controller. If you press scene, okay, your pads are now lit up, so you can actually scroll through your scenes like this. See what I'm saying? So if you're pressing play and if you're doing a live performance, you can just scroll through your patterns. See what I'm saying? I had the retrigger icon now because I want to do a little bit quicker. So it's pretty much however you want to do it. I mean, okay, retriggering is just basically means when you're tapping on the pad, it's going to just start wherever you're tapping on whatever scene that is. So however you adjust this little icon here is what's going to determine, you know, how that's going to play. You know, and then it gets into other areas, you know, if you want to do auto length and, you know, if you want to duplicate your scenes and, you know, arrange them however you want to arrange them and things of that nature. So it's pretty much up to you. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that you guys understood that, you know, that you can get in there and, you know, you can loop your scenes anywhere, you know, however you want to do it. You can see right there, if I want to make this pattern scene right here extremely long like this, I can do that. You can see right there, that's a 4-bar loop right there. You know, so, you know, it's up to you. But I hope I'm not leaving anything out on that. I think I made that pretty clear. If you have any questions or concerns, just hit me up. You know, and if you want to rename your scene, you can do in here again, like intro, verse, chorus. You know, whatever you want to do. You can move scenes around in here and, you know, basically set them up, erase them, change them up, whatever you want to do. You have that ability there. Okay. So I hope I'm not leaving anything out. It's your boy Fontaine, VIPSoundlab.com, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.